Yo, this is part 3 of my journey to take on all of Plants vs Zombies 2 with just nuts. Make sure you watch the previous parts if you haven't, and thanks again for all the support on this challenge so far. But before we get into it, it seems we have a bit of discourse on what I'm considering a nut for the purposes of this challenge. Which is fair, because I didn't really explain it at all. I originally intended to just use plants whose real world counterparts are considered nuts. But this left us with some awkward fringe cases. Before we make any definitive decisions, let's take a look at what it is that makes a nut a nut. I don't think there's any plants in the game that can do that. I'm just going to agree with the Council of Nuts in my comments and say that any plant with nut in its name is fair game. Notably, this means we now have access to the coconut cannon, meaning we can go back and clear day 22 of piracies with ease. That said, I don't think we'll be seeing much more of the coconut cannon because of its extortionate price. This also means we now have access to the cum nut, or at least it would if it wasn't locked behind limited time FOMO garbage. So to summarise, nothing's really changed. Let's get on with the challenge. Day 1 introduces the best world gimmick of the game so far, the minecarts. Most of the world gimmicks in this game serve to hamper your progression in one way or the other, be it denying you any sun, sweeping away half the screen, or harassing you into buying a burnt pea shooter. It already burns when I pee in real life, I don't want to spend £5 to be reminded of that. But instead of inhibiting you, the minecarts introduce a new macro gameplay feature to the game that genuinely changes the way you play. We start with a pea shooter in this level, but I must have been feeling a bit daring today because I scooped it up and replaced it with a peanut straight away. After beating day 1, we unlock the split pea. A grim reminder of things to come. Day 2 introduces the Prospector zombie, and the Prospector mention has the ability to eat my nuts from behind. The split pea would normally make quick work of these guys, but they're obviously not an option here. They're not actually an issue yet, since on their own you can just maneuver around them with minecarts, but it's when they're combined with big waves of zombies they become a real nuisance. Day 3 continues the pattern of introducing every zombie a world has to offer in the first 6 levels and worrying about pacing later. The piano zombies are barrel rollers and whatever the drug of choice was back in the Wild West, which I guess was morphine and prostitutes. I like these guys a lot. If you're going to waffle stomp my nuts into the ground, at least do so with a little jiggy. Like all of the special zombies in the game, they're absolutely fine as long as they're the only threat on screen and you have a plant feed available. We're so doomed. Day 4 is the first conveyor belt level. I've sang the praises so far of the Wild West, but these conveyor belt levels are the absolute worst. I already hate how restrictive these kind of levels are, but the ones in the Wild West have a gimmick where you get to place a single plant one at a time on a variety of minecarts. It's cool in theory, with you needing to look ahead at the waves to plan where you're going to put your plants, but they play glacially slow. You basically have to play these levels out 1 or 2 zombies at a time, with stupid intermissions in between each wave, making these levels akin to what I imagine it's like dying of a slow necrosis. Day 5 introduces another player in the Poncho zombie. These guys are sometimes a bucket ahead and sometimes not. This gimmick's simple and boring, and I kinda love it. In fact, I think they're probably my favourite zombie in the game. I don't really have a reason why, but if I was to be reincarnated as a zombie in this game's universe when I die, I'd want to come back as one of these guys, because I just think they're neat. Also, when I was a youngster playing through this game, I used to think they were wearing toasters on their chest. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be now, so I guess toaster's still my headcanon. Day 5 had way too many zombies for peanuts to mow down, but it was an easy stall job. Day 6 was an incredibly fun level, but it took quite a few tries to do. It's a plan your defense level, and my first setup looked baller, but got smoked by the piano zombies. The minecarts are really reminding me that I'm not much of a gamer. I'm not very good at maneuvering my nuts around. Second attempt was much more practical, but no less impregnable. This time it came down to an epic game of cat and mouse where there was 1 lane left with a lawnmower and 1 groovy menace that I was trying to seduce downwards with my nuts. Man, that sucks. I ran it back once more and cleared it. I really like this level. Like cow tipping, zombie tipping is best done from the side. Ew. Day 7's another special other than that weird intro. In fact, this one's so dull that I decided to rate out the following nut fact in alphabetical order. Did you know that Andar as Brazil, cashew climates, double penetration grown in India, Mozambique not required states such as trees, tropicals, united Vietnam? Day 8's a conveyor belt level, but not the ultra slow kind. Plus I got to use the pea pods and I freaking love those guys. Day 9 doesn't let us pick our plants, but it does give us the lightning read, signalling that the chicken zombies are soon to make their acquaintance. I'm not sure how that matchup will go, because even though peanuts can't clear waves very fast, they might be bulky enough for it to not matter. I guess we'll soon find out. We did not have to wait very long at all, as they appear in day 10, and to my surprise, peanuts can actually handle chickens just fine, which is a very welcome surprise. Normally peanuts are of the get bodied by everyone persuasion. Day 10 was easy enough, we only had to use 1 lawnmower. Day 11 gives you a minuscule budget of 500 sun, but we're compensated with a lot of minecarts. These levels that really utilise the world gimmicks are my absolute favourite. Despite this one not being too hard, I found it really fun pushing the nut carts around. Upon beating this level, we're gifted with an additional 25 refund when digging up plants. This is actually really helpful when you're working with nothing but stall plants, but I'd much rather start with an additional 25 sun. I hope we get to unlock that soon. Day 12 is another one of the unbearable conveyor belt levels. Does anyone like these? This world must have the highest concentration of conveyor belt levels in the game. This blows. Day 13 is loaded with prospector zombies, but they're still not a problem. I can just slip my peanuts behind them and nut on their asses. This level also introduces the bull riding imps, which are weirdly the least threatening zombies yet. I'm not really sure why, but piano zombies strike down nuts with all the force of a frivolous drunk driver, but the raging bulls just kinda chill there and give my nuts a gentle lick. They genuinely do like no damage. Day 14 was easy, but check out this mad chicken reaction. With gameplay like this, maybe those later worlds won't be so bad. While the rest of this otherwise unnoteworthy level plays out, I just want to talk over some channel updates. I'm now practically demonetized on my whole channel. In fact, I'm worse than demonetized because my ad revenue has been cut by 95% and YouTube is pocketing the rest. I can't even turn ads off on my own videos, so there's not much I can really do about it. And you know what pisses me off the most about all this? They won't even tell me what I've done wrong. I contacted support and they told me to figure it out myself while they siphon all the revenue off my videos. YouTube presented me the opportunity to possibly work on my ultimate passion as a viable career, and they took it all away from me and fucked me. Now, the more cynical amongst you might liken this to Jeffrey Epstein promising spoils to the little girls he took on his island, but I couldn't possibly comment on anything like that. I know it sucks when YouTubers talk about money, and there is so much more to YouTube than making a profit. I love making these videos, and I love interacting with the community that I've built, and I want to do it more. But the fact of the matter is, I'm spending a minimum of 8 hours a day making these videos. So at some point down the line, I'm going to have to look at alternative ways of monetizing my videos. I'm not sure what it'll be just yet. I just hope if you start seeing sponsorships or something similar on my videos, that you guys understand that it keeps my channel going and lets me create the content I want to make. Right, that's the rant over. And I guess I'll be swearing from now on, because what is YouTube going to do? Demonetize me? They've already fucking done that. Day 15 challenges us not to lose any more than 2 plants, which may pose the slightest challenge to a normal player who defends their lawn with feeble plant fibre, but my squad's nutty carapaces don't falter, which is to say, Goober Gang is hard as fuck. Upon beating this level with no casualties, we unlock Walnut Repair, which is a fun nod to the first game, but we probably won't come up much. It'd be a lot more useful if using plant food didn't fully restore nuts. On day 16, Penny chimes in with a nut pun of her own, and hints that Crazy Dave may be conspiring against the nuts. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. This level's really fun. It's pretty thematic making us protect a nut, which in itself is pretty easy, but there's this crazy difficulty spike here and the zombies come so fast and hard. Worst of all is that there's no minecart to the back, meaning prospector zombies can do catastrophic damage. My only saving grace is that the extra 25% refund upon digging up plants is actually really clutch here. I was ready to call this one impossible from the get-go, but somehow on my third attempt I just kinda won. I'm not really sure how, I kinda just got lucky. Day 17 is the hardest level of the whole challenge so far. I need to protect a row of sunflowers, which I've only just noticed have little faces. This means that without access to lawnmowers, I'm just kinda stalling with no payoff. I got pretty close on this one. What kinda helps is that the flower detection kinda sucks, and sometimes zombies just pass it without the level ending. But it doesn't happen frequently enough for me to be able to abuse it. Unfortunately, this level is impossible. Or at least that's what I thought until I was writing this script and remembered the coconut cannon exists. With one full minecart tract, one coconut cannon could potentially clutch this one out. But how do I get to 400 sun in a level this tight? Well, let me introduce you to my 2-step program. Step 1. Place a walnut in the frontmost minecart. Use this walnut to stall out as much as possible. Let the zombie nibble and gnaw as much as you can possibly handle, and once you're finally ready to blow, you plant that weapon down and bust coconut all over the zombies. I absolutely cannot believe this is happening to me again, but once more, the Plants vs Zombies 2 Nuts Only Challenge has been saved by edging. This is fucking poetic. Day 18, unlike the last level, is actually impossible. It's a plan your defense level with a minuscule budget. I really tried every combination of nuts I could think of on this one, but the absolute onslaught of chickens just overwhelmed my force. Once more, we're gonna have to come back to this one with more nuts. After beating this stage by renting the most broken plant I've ever seen, no really, how the fuck is this fair? We finally unlock a new member of the nut crew. He's tall, he's huge, he's imposing, and he's way too expensive to ever justify using. It's unfortunate, but I just can't say I've been dying to spend an extra 75 sun on the walnut. He'll probably just linger around until I need to use him to block flying zombies. Maybe he can stop prospectors actually, that could be really useful. Of course not. Day 19 was another level that I labelled impossible due to the restriction of not being able to lose more than 2 plants. I spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to beat this one, like over 2 hours, but I was able to retroactively beat it first try of my new edging strategy. I love this, since it adds a bit of much needed variety to the challenge, but it's such a shame that it only really works in the Wild West because of the minecarts. Day 20 plays more like a PowerPoint presentation in a Plants vs Zombies game. I really hate these levels. Day 21 was agonizingly hard. I failed this one so many times, but when I lost this level, it really felt like it was my fault because I wasn't being quick enough with the placements or minecart usage, and that's a really good feeling. It doesn't feel like I'm getting cheated by the game, but it feels like I can improve and overcome this level. The first prospector zombie waltzed over the flower line with no issue, which lured me into a false sense of security since I thought that's just how it worked, but nope, that was a glitch. I was actually able to beat this one in just over an hour by slipping my nuts in behind the prospectors in a way that stops them from moving but still lets the peanuts shoot them. This was a good level. I feel like I actually had to think about shit for once. Day 22 doesn't let you nut, but day 23 does. This was yet another seemingly impossible level. I can't describe to you how unbelievably bleak the original end of this script was. I had like 5 failed levels in a row, but the coconut cannon is so much better than I thought. The 400 sun isn't that bad since I can just store with walnuts until I've got enough for it. Again, it's such a shame I'm probably not going to be able to use the coconut cannon much outside this world. This level wasn't easy by any means with the coconut cannon though. The little chickens would somehow dodge the cannon fire sometimes, which was so annoying. With this level being a surprise victory, we're left with just 1 day left. Day 24, the final level. Fittingly enough, we need to protect 3 endangered walnuts. This was one of the most macro-intensive levels of the entire game. Moving these nuts around so they didn't get devoured was genuinely difficult for my meaty man fingers. I spent so long grinding this one out that it really hurts me to say it's not possible. Not yet at least. It could be done so easily if we had even a small minecart track in the back for a coconut cannon. But as it is, there's just too many zombies for the peanuts to mow down. These last failed levels are extra annoying because they could actually be done pretty easily if we could prematurely launch our lawnmowers, but we don't actually unlock that ability till much later on. But for now, I need to write this level off. I still don't think there's been a single level that I can say is fully impossible yet. Though, that might change very soon. After one more no nut no zomboss, we're done with the Wild West. I guess it's time to finally state the obvious. This challenge has been absurdly fun so far. Beating these worlds with the Goober Gang every week and growing a really cool community has been amazing. But the game's about to get so much harder. I've been able to beat most of these worlds so far in just a day or two, but the last 5 or so levels of the Wild West took a full day to complete by themselves. I think the next world alone might take a full week or more of grinding to beat, so the next video is going to take a lot longer to make. However, I am really excited to say that I'm going to be streaming my playthrough of Frostbite Caves on Twitch. You should swing by and keep me sane while I run my head into icy pillars non-stop. I'll have a link in the description to my Twitch channel. I'm really excited to turn the next world into a bit of a community effort. It's going to be fun, but I'm going to need the help. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll keep you guys posted on the community section of YouTube when I'm going live. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers!